Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Tomcat Stitchery. I'm Whitney and today we have another Sunday sew along and we're continuing the summer of tutorials. Okay, so today I'm actually wearing the dress that I made. Today I'm going to be showing you how to add a dart. We'll do full bust adjustment and add a dart to a pattern where there's not a dart. This is the Pattern Emporium Meet You There tier dress, and it's a woven dress pattern, but there are no darts in the bodice. I picked my size based on my upper bust measurement, which put me in a size 12, and then I did an 1.5 inch total full bust adjustment. So 3/4 of an inch on each side. She does say in the instructions that a lot of her full busted pattern testers did not need to do this on the pattern. So, you know, honestly, I think I would definitely need it just because for a few reasons. Number one, I need the little extra length in center front. I don't need the length around, you know, my side seams and around the back, but I did need it in the center front, and then also just having a little bit more relaxed feeling. I think I have just the right amount of ease to like easily move around, and so that the bodice is not fitted, because this just pop over your head, but a little more fitted. And then of course the dress is just tiers of fabric and it feels lovely in the heat we are currently having. And it'll be perfect with tights in the fall. So I'm showing you how to do that on the pattern. Finding the apex is a little bit of hit or miss, guess, but I think I nailed it. I mean, my tips of my darts are going right towards they stop right towards my, the apex of my boobs. So I think it went really, really well. So hopefully this makes sense. Let me know, as always, if you have any questions. If you would like to help support the channel, I do have a Ko-fi account, which is like a virtual tip jar, and all the money from that goes right into equipment, not machines, well, yeah, machine maintenance, supplies, all that kind of stuff. And I'm actually using a new tripod today in today's tutorial, which I have been loving. In fact, I think it's out of frame. You can't see it back there, but oh my gosh, really loving it. So excited about that. That's all thanks to the money that I have received from that Ko-fi account. So thank you guys very much for helping to support the channel so we can put out more content and get these tutorials out there. All right, guys, that is it for now. I'm gonna go show you the tutorial, and then at the end, I'll put a little spin of me in the dress so you can see what it ended up looking like. All right, guys, have a good Sunday, and I'll see you again on Tuesday. Bye. Okay, so I have the Meet You There dress and top front bodice right here. And we're gonna this does not include a full bust piece or whatever, nor does it have a dart, but we are going to add all of that because I do want a dart here. And I've already done some preliminary measuring and all that kind of stuff. So first things first, there is no apex on this pattern, which can be, it's just easier if there is, where it shows where the apex of the pattern is. What I've done is I've held this pattern piece up to my body, and this mark right here, which I'm hopeful that you can see, is where my apex of my bust is. Now, obviously, when you do, or maybe not so obviously, but when you do a full bust adjustment, the apex drops, because I mean, my apex is going to be much lower. You add length where you need it for it to go over the length of your bust. So what I've done is, assuming that the actual apex of the pattern is much higher than where my apex is, really, I'm looking for the apex of my bust just to find where, vertically, I guess, where the point is in the width of the pattern. Now, as far as where it falls in the length of the pattern, I've just kind of arbitrarily gone 2 inches below my underarm seam. I don't know for sure if that's where it is, but it will be close enough, and I think give me the room where I need it. And then I will talk about what you can do if you've done, do a mock-up and you find that the bust dart is too high or too low. I'll show you how to do that. So what I've done is I've cut a size 12, and this pattern does include upper bust measurements. So I've picked my pattern based on my upper bust measurement, and I've gone with the size 12 based on that. She does say, because there is ease in this pattern, that a lot of her full bust people did not have to do a full bust adjustment, but I went ahead and I measured at that 2 inches or below my arm line. I measured what that width is, took out my 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, and it is 5/8 on the back, I think, and 10 and 5/8 on the back, and I think 10 and 7/8 on the front. I don't know if you can see that I've written it in pencil, but I can't remember, or vice versa. I can't remember exactly, but I also measured my back piece right underneath the same spot, so 2 inches below that armhole. So I've added those together, got 21.5, and you multiply that times 2 because one front and one back is just half of the bodice. Multiply that times 2. So that gives me a full finished bust measurement of 43 inches. And I want more ease than that. So actually, my full bust actually is larger at the moment than it is normally. So I'm going to add an extra 2 inches and take that, I think, maybe 1.5 inches. I'm going to add an extra 1.5 inches at the bust. I don't want it to be too oversized. So I want to add an extra 1.5 inches, which would put me at a full bust of 44.5. And I think that will be plenty of room and fit me nicely. So that is the plan. So 1.5 inches adding, that means I need to do 3/4 of an inch on each side. So I'll do a 3/4 of an inch full bust adjustment, because then that'll give me 1.5 inches across the whole front, 3/4 on each side. Okay, so hopefully that math makes sense and how I decided that. So I went ahead and drew in a line, 2 inches. I made it perpendicular to my center front because that's my grain line and that's also on the fold. So I made in that line, and then, which is right here, and then I just went straight up. So this is perpendicular to the line I just made, and it'll be parallel to the center front. And I've just gone that bust point that I marked at my bust, and I've made a cross hatch right there at that line. So that's the apex I'm going to be working from. Hopefully that all makes sense. Oh, I also want to say I shortened my bodice pieces because I just need it because I'm short-waisted. So I have gone ahead and done my 1 inch shortening on both the front and the back first. And now I will do my full bust adjustment, which will add length back, but it adds it just in the front because then the side gets taken up with the dart. Okay. So what I'm going to do, we're going to do a full bust adjustment. So I'm going to go with this cross hatch, and I'm just going to make a line going straight down to the hem, like so. My dart, actually, I'll just keep this line that I've made right here. That's a fine spot for a dart. So this line that will be the line for my dart, and then I'm going to make a line up here, and we'll go up to the sleeve notch. Again, my seam allowances are 3/8 of an inch, so I'm just going to mark in the seam allowance here at the armhole. And now we're going to cut up to our apex that we have picked, and then we're going to keep cutting to the armhole, but stop at that seam allowance line. And then we're going to cut back down from the cut edge to the seam allowance. So we have a little hinge there. And then we're going to cut this line from the outside to the apex and leave a little spot for a hinge. I've got some extra paper here. All right. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to tape, I'm going to actually open this way up just for a second. I'm just going to tape down here just to keep that nice and taut. And then, but don't tape anything below here because this is going to get cut and lengthened and all that jazz. All right, so now I'm going to take from this line, I'm going to make a line that is 3/4 of an inch because we're doing a 3/4 of an inch full busted, well, 1.5 inch, but 3/4 on each side. And then I'm just going to swing these pieces over to that line I just drew. And now I'm going to tape everything on this right hand side down because I don't want any of this to shift. Again, this is still loose here. And I'm also just going to add a little extra to this dart bulk here, because we'll true that up here in a minute. I'm running out of tape, of course. Okay, let me refill my tape real quick. Okay, fresh tape. All right. So before we do anything else, I need to true this down to this point. So what I'm going to do is I already had this bodice length adjustment line that was here. I'm just going to lift this up real quick. And I'm just going to make a line that continues on from there. And I'm going to cut this at that. So that was a straight line that went all the way across. Well, and then we can also, just to make sure things stay plumb, okay. So now we can tape the rest of this, and I can put just a little bit under there. A lot of times with this too, it helps to put some tape on the back as well. All right, and then we can just kind of true the bottom here. There's not a whole lot. So I can go ahead and recut the bottom. Just cut that away there. Okay, then I'm gonna cut just this off the armhole because that's unnecessary. Okay. And then the front, we're just going to cut that to make that straight as well. Okay, let's talk about our dart. All right, so we have created a dart, which you can see would be there and there. Here's our apex. I'm going to leave that as the new apex. I am going to come off that apex, probably an inch. So I'm just going to back it up right in the middle of that dart. And this isn't a huge dart because, what is that width? It is 1 3/8. So it's not a huge dart. 1 3/8. Like, right there. Okay, so I'm just going to back off my point 1 inch there, and then draw in my dart. Okay, now, and we'll true it up, and then I'll talk about if this is too high or too low or whatever, what you need to do at that point. So to true this up, we're just going to, I hit it with my tracing wheel just along that dart leg so that it bends easily. It's a little easier if you're using like tissue paper or medical exam paper, but I'm using like printer paper. So we're just going to fold the bottom up to meet the top because that is pushing the dart bulk down. Oh, sorry. I also think I was just sticking my head in the way and I really apologize. Okay. So we're just going to match that up to where that is nice and trued. And you can either run a tracing wheel over it or you can just cut it to where it's flat with that side seam. And there you have your dart bulk. All right, now let's say you make this up. I'm just going to hold it up to myself real quick. It's kind of hard to do when it's paper. Actually, I think that's going to be really nice. But let's say that you needed to raise or lower it. What you do is you're just going to make a line that is parallel to your grain line. that goes right through that point, your dart point. And then you're just going to make a box around your dart that is, you know, right angles here at the end. So I've made this box, and you're just going to cut that box out, and then you can raise or lower it depending on where it needs to go. Restick it, fill in the extra with paper wherever you've got your gaps, and then just true it back up again the way I just showed you. So hopefully that makes sense if you need to move that dart. And there you go. That is how you add a dart where there is no dart. Let me know down below if you have any questions, and I will show you the finished result.